Minister Alexis Tsipras. President.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam Ambassador. I was thinking that what Greece needed was 100 people with your level of commitment, passion, and energy. I thank you for, in the best sense of the word, nagging us never to give up on Greece. Prime Minister, before you came, one of your eminent bankers who was, when a younger woman and an aide to your predecessor, the first Prime Minister Papandreou, when he came to see me, and Joe Stiglitz, who was in a former life on my Council of Economic Advisors, were discussing the current conditions. Greece represented, among other things, the first crisis of the Eurozone, which when it was created and I was presented with the first little Euro coin, I told the then Prime Minister, chosen to lead in an unusually difficult time. But it's important not to forget that this is a very rich country, Greece. It's rich in natural resources, it's rich in human resources, its people work on average 25% more hours per week than German workers. It has been victimized by a tax base that does not include some of the wealthiest people in the country, and by a long past of promises from the public sector that can't be funded or fulfilled. And you find yourself in the middle of a maelstrom in which the working people of Greece, who haven't done anything wrong, have elevated you to lead them through this very difficult time. So, I want you to say whatever you want to say, but I'd like to begin by giving you a chance to say, what's your strategy now? What do you want in terms of modifications of the agreement? And the second thing I want to discuss is, as specifically as you feel comfortable doing it, what can the people we're trying to get to invest in Greece now to believe in its future do, and where can they be most helpful? So let's begin by, where do you go now? What's your... You won, now what do you, you're like the dog that chased the car. What do you do when you catch it?
First of all, I want to thank you for the invitation. It's an honor for me to be here to discuss with you. I think it's very important to try to exchange views. I think that Greece was in the center of the interest, the global interest, the last 5 years, because it became the negative example of tough implementation of tough austerity measures. And of course, I think that you mentioned before that we had a public debt 120% of GDP before the bad recipe, because it was the bad recipe, this memorandum of understanding with our lenders that was based on internal devaluation and austerity. And now we have a public debt 180% of GDP. So for the first time that I was elected as a prime minister, me and my party Syriza, we tried to convince our partners in the Eurozone, in the European Union, in order to change this direction, to recorrect not the Greek program only, but the direction of Europe. Because I believe that this is not a Greek problem, but is a European one. You know that we tried to do the better we could do. There was a big fight, negotiations, with difficult balances in the European spectrum, because you know that there is a conservative spectrum, unfortunately. And the last time I decided and we decided to take a difficult decision, to remain in the Eurozone even though the agreement that we did has a lot of difficulties. But for the first time, it give us a perspective to wait out, to avoid, to overcome the crisis. It was a difficult decision, and the Greek people recognize the fight and the difficult decision to remain in the Eurozone. So the question is what we're going to do now. I think that we have to continue the fight to recorrect the direction of Europe. We believe that austerity was the bad recipe that became the patient worse than the illness itself. And now it is necessary to put on the table the growth agenda. Otherwise, it's very difficult to come back to growth. But if this that I said before was the bad news, that the austerity measures create recession, and this was a disaster for the public debt that was increased rapidly, the good news is that now, after this agreement that we did, this difficult agreement, for the first time, Greece has a realistic program to implement which does not exhaust itself on recessionary austerity. We cover our financial needs for the next 3 years. This is very important. And the most important is that there is a commitment in the other side of the part of our partners to start the crucial discussion for the reprofiling, the restructuring of the debt. So we're going to deliver our commitments, even though they have a lot of difficulties ahead, but it is necessary for the other side, for the side of our partners, European partners, to deliver their commitment for the necessary relief of our public debt in order to create an atmosphere of trust and credibility to the markets, and to reclaim economic stability in order to have investments in Greece. This is very important in order to come back to growth. And the second very significant good news is that after the result of the last election last week, last Sunday, it's very clear that the mandate of the Greek people was to continue to have stability, political stability for the next 4 years, but not to continue in the same direction, but to fight for the necessary reforms internal in my country. It is necessary to make changes. It is necessary to make reforms in taxation, in the public administration, and to try to create a friendly environment for investments, to create a more, to cut the ties with the clientelistic state of the past, to hit tax evasion and corruption, to create a framework of meritocracy in the public administration, and then to try to have foreign direct investments, because this is very crucial in order to come back to growth. And this is the way that we want to drive the car. I know that there will be difficulties, but at the same time I know that there will be a lot of alliances in the global area. And not only in Europe, in the Eurozone, but everywhere, and especially here in the United States. We count on the supporting of the US administration, but also we count on the efforts of the Greek Americans, the people that want to help this national effort to come back to growth.
do you believe that the path of the next 4 years is clear enough that you would feel comfortable if everyone in this room was a potential investor in Greece telling them that it's safe to move now? That's very important. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to back out on me again. I'm tired of going to dinners where nothing happens. Really, I mean, do you believe we're ready now? Yes.
This is a good question, and I will answer positive because I think, first of all, this awful discussion about the Brexit is over. I think that this is very important because if there is an investor who wants to know if the currency the second day will be the same or it will change. And I think that now we avoided the trap of the conservative forces of Europe that they wanted the division of Europe. And I think that we took the correct decision to join the progressive forces in Europe that they wanted European Union united and Eurozone united. Secondly, I think that it is very important that this agreement creates a more stable situation for the next 3 years, and after the election result, political stability. And then I'm here to announce our intention to try to change, to reform the public administration in order to create a more friendly environment for investors. And I believe strongly that, of course, the bad recipe that I said before, these bad decisions of our partners in Europe, in Eurozone, was the half of the reason of this bad situation in Greece. The other half was the bad decisions of our governments, our bad decisions. So we have to make changes. We have to make reforms in Greece. And we're decisive to make reforms. But of course, everything is difficult to be done if there is a recession, not a recession, a depression. We lost 25% of our GDP the last 5 years. So we want to make reforms, but the precondition to make reforms in this direction is to create a more stable economic environment. I believe strongly that this agreement, even though it has a lot of difficulties, gives this chance to create a more stable environment and to make the structural reforms that we need. And then I think that this is very good facts that will give the optimism to our possible investors to come in Greece and to invest. I think that this is the time.
But it's really important. I mean, because there's no external significant source of investment apart from what you can attract. So what do you think, if you had a wish list that could be immediately fulfilled, which sectors of the economy do you think are most important for foreign investment, and which would create, from your point of view, what we need is the largest amount of growth and the largest amount of employment? That will relieve the pressure on you and make the creditors think they're more likely to be repaid. So what's the most important thing we could do?
First of all, there are a lot of sectors in which the investments could take place. And I think that Greece has a significant environment. Greece is in a significant location in the world, and this is our best advantage. So I think that investments in tourism, every time are investments that will take place. But it's not only in tourism. there is the agri-food industry, in informatics, in healthcare services, in energy, of course. I believe that Greece could be the field in which the roots, the energy roots of the future will pass, and probably the renewable energy. I think that also the pharmaceuticals, and I believe that we have to invest as a country in our human capital. You know that Greece has a habit to create the high educated young people. And the last 5 years, these people goes away, abroad. It is very important to try to invest in new technology, innovation, the startup companies in new technology and research and researches. I think that this is very crucial for our government, and we have intention to improve whatever it's necessary to do in this direction, and we need investment in this field. So the second question was,
First of all, on that point, I believe in northern Greece there are windmills generating electricity you're selling to Germany, isn't that right?
Yeah. In northern Greece?
Yeah, I believe that's right. Anyway, let me ask you another question. What about the? Let's flow this energy thing. I was in Greece almost 10 years ago now with your successor, George Papandreou. And we were having dinner in a high place outside, and I saw this long line of cars, and I said, "What's that long line of cars doing?" He said, "They're waiting to drive by Greece's first carbon-positive office building, which was the second carbon-positive building built in all of Europe. The first was in Rotterdam." You said you wanted more energy investment. Are the laws such that if someone comes in there and makes a significant investment in making you more energy independent, that they can recover their investment through rate paying? I mean, if we bring the investors there, have they got a way to get their money back? Because they could put a lot of people to work.
So this is a crucial question, but I believe that if we manage to create a more friendly environment for investors with a permanent taxation system, and without the corrupted relations that everybody knows that now in Greece, the investor has to pay the official taxes, but also sometimes has to pay under the table in order to try to win the bureaucracy of the state, in order to try to survive in this difficult situation with the delays in the justice. So that's why I think that this question could be answered after the radical reforms that we're going to make in the public administration. So I think that if we create political and economic stability, if we try to transform the public administration in the direction that it's necessary to do, then why the difficulties will remain in Greece with the investments? Why it will be better to invest in another country of the Eurozone and not in Greece? I believe that Greece is a country with a lot of advantages. It's in the Eurozone and in a very significant location between three continents, and I believe that it could be the place and the country that in future will be very, very attractive in investments with a very good result for the investors. This is my opinion. Also, this is my desire. This is my will. But I know very well that it is necessary to work hard in this direction in order to try to make all these promises, to try to implement all these promises. But at the same time, I'm very optimistic that if we'll not try to do, if we'll not try to make these changes, never will change. So the message to the investors is that they are welcome in Greece. The message is that now we have stability and a government with a clear mandate from the Greek people to make these necessary changes. So they don't have nothing to lose, but only to try, and then they will win.
What if there were a fund established? You mentioned your desire to promote young innovators in technology in Greece. Mm-hmm. Would it help if you had a special fund just to finance those kinds of startups?
Yeah, this is something that we have planned, and we are going to implement in the near future. But of course, it's necessary to join this fund. And this is something, this is an important message that I want to say to you, to everybody, that it is necessary to trust and to join initiatives of investments in Greece, especially in this area. Of course, I don't want to say that in tourism it's not a good idea to invest, but especially in this area of innovation, of new technology, it's a priority for us. And I believe, because of this special human capital, the highly educated Greek young people, I'm convinced that the result will be very, very good.
Let me ask you, I want to make sure that I have this right. Just because I don't want anybody to make any excuses again. All these people that I know in America who love your country, most, but not all of them, are Greek Americans. Uh-huh. Some of them are from other countries, but they feel terrible about what's happened. And they think that, you know, it's time to get over and stop living in the past, and you're trying to break free of the future, and you've been put in a straitjacket, sort of, that you're in the process of wriggling your way out of without abandoning your obligations. It's difficult, complex, and you deserve a lot of credit for it. But you're saying, in no uncertain terms, that you believe it is not necessary for people to wait until every last detail of this new arrangement on the debt refinancing is worked out, to know that it will be worked out, that the government is going to be there 4 years, and that better to invest sooner rather than later, But you can buy low, sell high, increase growth and employment, and that in itself will stabilize the political as well as the economic climate. Mm-hmm. That's basically your message. Mm-hmm. So they can write a check now. No, I mean, this is very important because I'm telling you, there are a huge number, just the Greek diaspora. Mm-hmm. And I'm not talking just about, the reason I ask about the fund is I'm also trying to find a way to get a few million Greek Americans who don't have a great deal of money, but who could pool their money into a fund that could also start a lot of new businesses in Greece. I just want to be able to say that this is what you said. It makes sense to me. But there are a lot of people pulling for you around the world. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people understand why you won and then admired you for not taking the house down when you won. For you trying to assume a responsible position and figuring out how to work through this debt. But that we need to recognize, the rest of us, that at some point we undermine your position by waiting. The time is now to do something. It's time to stop fooling around with it. And you're being awfully kind not to say it that bluntly, but I think that's accurate. That basically your message is, I've got this under control. We're going to work through this. Please don't wait any longer to start investing. Is that a fair statement?
First of all, I know very well that there is not only the Greek Americans that they want to support Greece. I think there is a global, international interest, let me say an ethical interest, to support Greece. Because all this period, I think that Greek people were the victim of an economic war. Secondly, because Greece remains a field of stability in a region that's around its day by day destabilized. In the north, in Ukraine, in the southern east with Syria, in the southern west with Libya. You know that now we have a crisis into the crisis, the refugees waves in Greece, that Greece is the reception country of hundreds of thousands refugees that came. They want to go to Europe, to the northern countries of Europe, but they pass via our islands. So I think that it's a global interest, Greece to remain a field of stability. And the only way to remain a field of stability is to overcome the crisis, to come back to growth, and to create an environment of social cohesion. We need investments and investors because it's necessary to come back to growth. And it's necessary to come back to growth because this will create social cohesion to tackle the unacceptable unemployment, 30%. It's close to 30%, the official rate. It's unacceptable for a developed country. And then, because this will means that Greece will go back to stability, to growth, and democracy will come back to Europe via Greece. Democracy was born in Greece, and this is the more significant gift that we gave to the global spectrum, to the global civilization, and this is the gift that we want to once again give to our European partners. I believe in the necessity Europe to be united, Eurozone to be united. But I believe that this will happen only if Europe comes back to its foundation principles, foundation values, solidarity, sharing the burden, sharing responsibility, sharing our common future, democracy and social cohesion. That's why I'm trying to give this message to not only to the Greek Americans, but also to the Americans. It is necessary to support our efforts to rebuild our country and to recorrect the direction of Europe.
Let's give him a hand. Thank you. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.